Hey guys, what's up? It's your Raiti from Raiti's Rides. I'm back here in one of my favorite filming spot locations because guess what? We have some changes from Lincoln, and it's with this vehicle right here. This is it. This is a 2023 Lincoln Corsair, updated, changed up, and refreshed, and our particular one is the reserve trim. But before we get into this compact crossover SUV that has all-wheel drive, let's talk about what's going on here. Once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, Lincoln was all about sedans. And of course, one of the biggest nameplates was the Continental. Now down the road, they really shocked the auto industry coming out with the OG of all luxury SUVs, and that would be the Navigator. Now, of course, Lincoln, trying to play their cards right, have moved away from sedans, and they have a plethora of SUVs, especially now with the Corsair being their smallest one. One of those things, of course, the Navigator brings a lot of attention to the brand, a lot of sales, but they wanted to take some of that magic and bring it into the smaller Corsair. And you know what? It's not easy in this compact luxury crossover SUV segment of the auto industry because there's some tough competition. Two of the biggest players is going to be the Lexus NX series, like a NX 350, and also the new kid on the block, which is the Genesis GV70. So what I want to find out is, has Lexus made the right changes to make this the better luxury, better new luxury SUV to buy, that smaller size over the Genesis GV70? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this Corsair and find out. Right off the bat, the color, it's called Infinite Black, and with the jet black appearance package, which is new for 2023, it looks very classy and very luxurious. Now at the front of the business, here's where you're gonna see some of those changes. So we have an updated headlight housing, of course, full LED lighting, LED projector beam headlights, and daytime running lamp. And then I like the way they separated the turn signal a little bit lower into the front fascia. Everything else is super clean, all black on black. Now, as we come across the new shaped grille, this is where we see that connection with the Nautilus, with the mighty Navigator, and with this Corsair. I like the way on the reserve trim they did all these intricate little studs, gloss black, and if you notice, it's all about the Lincoln badge shape. All of these match the Lincoln badge, and that's where that badge is, prominent top dead center. You do have a forward-facing camera, which has been blended in very nicely into the badge. And then on the lower portion, you do have full functionality on that gloss black area. But with the gloss black, with the Infinite Black, super sleek. Now, when you get up onto that hood, nice little fold, makes it meet cleanly with the grille. And then you just have a slight rise that evaporates as you go towards the windshield. Now, as we come around the bend, besides new headlights, besides a new grille and a new front fascia, we have new wheels. These are specific to the jet black appearance package. Love the multi-spoke design, nice gloss black to match the Infinite Black. You do have all-wheel drive as an option with our particular reserve. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what the heck is the size of this wheel and tire? So this is a 20-inch wheel. Very nice large wheel on this vehicle, 245 on the width and a 45 series sidewall. I love the way they not only painted the fender openings body color Infinite Black, but they also kept that separate section very, very small. And I think that was very smart to do. Now, as we come down the side, I really think it's not only smart, but very ingenious about how they put the model names. This is the only place you'll see Corsair on the exterior of the vehicle. Nautilus, same story. Navigator, same story as well. I think that it keeps everything clean on the exterior. And in this area, it's nice to have a little something, and it's great that they didn't just put like some fake vents. That really kind of balances the style of it. But Corsair, if you're not aware of, is a jet fighter plane back from World War II. So it's kind of cool that they take these names, Navigator, Nautilus, and Corsair, and really bring them into the brand. You do have color match mirrors, obviously Infinite Black with that nice styled LED turn signals. They are power folding mirrors. Infinite Black all over the door handles. Up top, same story on our roof rails. And then we're gonna have a nice size glass top. That is a sunroof that opens along the bottom portion. Everything remains the same from last year, even though this is a refresh. But I think it looks super clean the way they did the style. And this, I think, really hits the pulse of what Lincoln is all about style-wise, especially when you're comparing this to a GV70. If you've been on the fence about the GV70 because it looks a little too futuristic, I think the changes really kind of adapt the Corsair into the rest of Lincoln's lineup. Now, as we work our way to the back, like I said, we got all-wheel drive, it's front-wheel drive base, but as soon as there's slip, power is sent to the rear wheels. And then as we come around the back, I really love how they did the rear fenders. So the fenders actually cut right there. This portion is the hatch, is the lift back. And the reason why I like that is that when it opens, it gives you some extra room, plus it allows the taillights to be so clean into that rear lift back area. You do, of course, have full LED lighting, and like I told you, nowhere does it say at the back Corsair. Now they give you a nice, long, sporty rear spoiler. They do give you a color match shark fin antenna and a super thin, clear third brake light that obviously will illuminate with red LED. The one zonk, especially with this being a Lincoln, this has got to go. We got to get the wiper. Look how much room there is. And if this wasn't here, I'm telling you, it would really just make the back of this vehicle spot on the money. You got the Lincoln name spelled out, Abraham, and of course the Lincoln brand, all nicely spelled out. You could go to Nebraska in your Lincoln. And then dropping down, they do give you functional exhaust. Nice slash cut, aluminum style tip to it. Even the way they did the lower rear bumper area, nice and clean without going too over the top. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk horsepower, comparing this to the GV70. All right, guys, we got the hood open. You do have hydraulic hood struts. Underneath the hood, I was expecting probably just like you, some type of engine cover, since this is a luxury crossover SUV, but that has got to be a zonk that there's no engine cover to kind of just clean that up, because it is a luxury vehicle. Now, if you pop the hood on a GV70, it is gonna look cleaner. But what do we got going on power-wise? You have a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine, one engine option and one engine option only, 250 horsepower, 275 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And like I said, we have the optional all-wheel drive, 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds, top speed 130 miles per hour. The vehicle weighs 3,983 pounds, and MPGs 21 in the city, 28 on the highway. So the powertrain is a carryover from last year. It's been that way for a few years, but wait until we get to the interior where you're gonna see some major changes going on in there. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire this up and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this 2023 Lincoln Corsair Reserve with the jet black appearance package. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I want a little bit smaller SUV. We've had to use a big supersized luxury SUV because I got all the kids. Well, guess what? They're 32 years old and they finally moved out. So now I could downsize a little bit, but I still want my luxury, and I definitely want something that looks good. And so far, I'm liking this Lincoln Corsair. How much is it? Very good question. And congratulations for getting your kids out at 32. The average age is right around 35, so you beat the national average. But if you're wondering how much is this Corsair, MSRP, the way this one is optioned, and it's got a lot of good options, especially all-wheel drive, and wait until you see this interior, you're looking at $60,000. But let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I like the clean, sporty style. Now, up top, you do have this nice gray black finish with your seat controls. So taking a page from some of the other brands, easy to access seat controls. You do have massage settings and the ability to also move them around on the infotainment system screen, which I will show you. You have a 14 speaker premium sound system. I like the speaker grill cover. Very, very nice touch. And then, of course, moving your way around, a little bit of chrome. I love the red stitching, and you'll see why. I do have to zonk the gloss black right around the switch gear. A little bit gloss black heavy, so the FBI is going to know that there's fingerprints there. But the door pocket is very wide and very deep, so you'll be able to go to Checkers, get your big Buford, and a nice large Checkers fry. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, this is where things get really good. Soft touch material, just like on the top of the door. I'm loving this aluminum trim. I wish they would have used this a little bit more, especially with the Lincoln badge. And you know what? Make it a little bigger. Have it say Corsair in here. And then new for 2023, we got the two-tone with the eternal red leather interior. Just like the Bengals Eternal Flame, we got the eternal red, nice soft touch with the stitching. And then come on in, because feast your eyes on that thing. 13.2-inch all new infotainment system screen. Yes, it's floating iPad, but you know what? It does not block your vision out the windshield. You got a little bit of chrome because it is a Lincoln. Obviously, full touchscreen capability. Now, that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. One of my zonks is things like your ventilated and heated seats are all through the touchscreen. Things like your blower fan are all through the touchscreen, and then you got to move this little Tinkerbell magic wand. You see how I'm even sitting here and I'm having trouble with it, but it makes like a little sparkly design when you're moving it. The problem with this is that when you shut the vehicle off, you're gonna have so many smears all over this thing that you're gonna have to make sure that you have your Lincoln microfiber cloth to wipe everything down. You could obviously move things around very easily. You hit the Lincoln badge, and then that's where then you set up your triple screen features. And speaking of features, I'm going into those features. So you got your full driver assistance. This has active glide. That's that semi-autonomous driving feature. Just like some of the other brands, we could go into settings. This is where you could change up everything from your display. You got your different screens, and I'll show you this when you come to the business end, where you could go calm, you could go excited, lots of different ways. And look at all the swipe action that we have here with all the different ways to change things up. And then, of course, you got your apps on top of that. Of course, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. Throw it into reverse. Nice, large, super clear resolution. You got your trajectory. We got our 360. And then if you watch this, you hit that. Now I could zoom in on each corner. So if you're backing up into the garage and you don't want to hit your collectible Dino Ferrari, you could watch that corner and make sure that you don't hit your highly prized Dino Ferrari that you wipe with a diaper at the end of each day, the dust. You could even do all your 360, like I said, everything very simple to work with in this vehicle, and then I put it back in the park. Now working your way down, you got that leather, you got your AC vents nicely integrated, start stop button almost hidden, but I kind of like that it's right here because you go doop, and then you can hit reverse or whatever you want to do. Then we have some gloss black. You could shut off that pesky auto start stop feature, your traction control. This is for your forward facing camera, and you do get a real volume knob with the Lincoln name. And then this center console is all new for 2023. Really cleans things up. It's nice and low, but not too low. And what I like is you have the soft leather with that red stitching. And then watch this. You got that gray black finish. Slide this open. What do we got? Wireless charging, USB-A, USB-C. And then it closes nicely. 2 cup holders with some ambient lighting. You got your different drive modes, which I'll show you that when you come over the business side. You do have your Lincoln key fob. Spin it around. We do have remote start with the highly polished chrome buttons. Nice. That eternal red is just beautiful in here. Open it up. You got a nice little tray for some Aladdin's game tokens from the arcade, and you can remove that. You got a 12 volt, and you can fit about 4 Rubik's Cubes in there. So I highly recommend driving around with a Rubik's Cube, or up to 4 of them, especially if you're on a trip, because you know what? When the kids are bored, tell them that if they could solve the Rubik's Cube, you'll take them to Walt Disney World. And maybe that'll never happen because not many people can solve the Rubik's Cube. I can. the seats, the leather, the softness. I like the way Lincoln does this separate thing. They have separate headrests from the rest of the seat. You can move these seats 24 different ways from Sunday, and I'll show you how to do that very simply. And then of course, when it comes to what's up top, we have that nice, large, panoramic sunroof. Right now the sun's blasting me in my face. All one-touch operation. Look, Mom, no hands. Easy peasy. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind the leather-wrapped steering wheel in our Corsair. Hi guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 3 memory seat settings, and like I said, getting to those settings for your seats are easy to do, including massage seats. And I'll show you how you could also not use the buttons on the door if you don't want to. You do get a nice aluminum sill plate, but I am gonna zonk it. I wish that it had some LED lighting like some of the competition. The seats, because the controls are not on the side, are nice and wide, and you have these awesome hamstring extensions, which you could actually move separately in case you have one leg longer than the other, or you're a pirate. I don't know. But what's great is, besides controlling them on the door, check out on our infotainment system screen. I actually have the seat settings, and it's real simple, plus or minus with the bolstering, and it actually shows you what you're using and what you're adjusting, or you could go full massage and have that nice comfort as you're driving up and down the road. But real simple there. What's not simple is the beautiful leather. They really went nicely with the 2-piece, the red stitching, and then I like how clean the switchgear is. You actually use these 2 like joysticks to go through the different things on the screens. You do have paddles. I wish they were aluminum on the back of the wheel to go up and down that 8-speed automatic, and it is an electric tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you're gonna have a new 12.3-inch digital gauge display. I like the way you could scroll through a cornucopia of information in the center. And then of course you have your different modes. You have, of course, the Bon Jovi mode, slippery when wet. And then you have conserve if you want to, be eco-friendly. And then you have excite if you're ready to rock and roll, or normal to where you're balanced. But who really is balanced? What makes this kind of on top of the other SUVs like the GV70 is you have a nice large head-up display that gives you so much information. It's like watching the Weather Channel with a speedometer. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat and see if your passengers are gonna be happy rocking out to AC/DC's Back to Black on that backseat area. All right guys, here we are, backseat time, and you know what? You're gonna have plenty of room because it's the same arrangement of space as last year, and last year's model had plenty of room in the passenger side. I like the way that the panoramic sunroof actually goes past your passengers' heads in the back seat to really give them that open air kind of feel. And then the backs of the seats, soft touch material. I'm not a big fan of the cargo net, so I am gonna zonk that, but what's great is in this space, you could keep that collector book with all of your Lincoln pennies in it. All the special years that you've been collecting them, keep that book right back there in your Lincoln. And then on the back of the command center, you do have 2 stages of heated seats. I wish that they gave you ventilated seats for $60,000. That's just one thing that I'm gonna have to zonk with that. But you do have your rear AC vents, plus open up the doors. You got actually 2 USB-Cs on one side, 2 USB-Cs on the other. And if you think about it, you can't even fit 4 people back here, but they wanna make sure that you're connected. Sitting back here, I'm pretty comfy. If I need to get more comfortable, watch this. You got a little bit of tilt action to the rear seat, and you also have a nicely padded armrest with 2 cup holders. But why don't we go ahead, let's see what the heck we could stuff in the back of this Corsair, new with the changes for 2023. Let's go check it out. All right guys, Abraham Lincoln might have not came up with the US Postal Service, but Ben Franklin did. So let's find out how much mail can we fit in the back of this Lincoln Corsair. You're gonna hit the button, nice electric assist, and what you're gonna be greeted to is a good amount of space there, especially the width and the height. But what are the actual hard numbers? I know you wanna hear some numbers. Here are some numbers. 28 cubic feet with the rear seats up, 58 cubic feet with the rear seats down. Now what I like is that you have that big old subwoofer back here from our premium sound system. Remember, 14 speakers. We do have a 12 volt. Perfect for when maybe you're at the beach and you need to inflate some of those rafts and stuff. And then interesting how they have a gigantic bottle of Yoo-Hoo holder. I think Abraham Lincoln, that was his favorite drink, was Yoo-Hoo. But the other good part of it is that to get those seats down, we have the 60-40 split, and you're just gonna use your finger. Watch this. Left, right. Almost totally flat is gonna help maximize that space, over 50 cubic feet of it. And then if you're wondering, well, Joe, what about a spared? Sometimes accidents happen, they don't call them on purposes. You do get a nice spare underneath with some nooks for some Twinkies. So while you're changing the tire to help give you some nutrition, some energy, because that's like the original Power Bar is the Twinkie. You got at least 4 on each side. So 4 plus 4, the last time I checked on my Abacus, is 8. So you got 8 Twinkies, but you know what? We got a turbocharged engine, we got all-wheel drive, and we have that active glide system from Lincoln. Let's go ahead, let's go on throttle in this Corsair. All right, guys, we're inside this 2023 refresh updated Lincoln Corsair Reserve. Right away, you're gonna love the size of the new screen, easy to get to. The digital gauge cluster looks fantastic, and really well organized how everything is placed in here, especially with the new center console. You just take your right thumb and then you can toggle through your fuel economy, your tire pressure, power distribution through that all-wheel drive system, your driver assistance, of course, like lane keep assist. Or you could have what's called the comm screen, which kind of just takes away a lot of the data and keeps things super simple. Fuel, mile per hour, and your lane keep assist. I'm gonna leave it on the power distribution just so that when we go on throttle, you can see how the power is being sent to all 4 wheels. I like the way they have this nice thumb joystick controller. And then, like I said, paddles behind the wheel for the 8-speed automatic. These seats are some of the most comfortable I've ever sat in, especially with how many different ways you could adjust them. And then the fact that you also have massage seats is a welcome addition. But driving down the road, you're gonna find that this Corsair, especially the Reserve trim, has that better sound cancellation system to keep the outside noise from coming into the interior. But it also is the sound deadening material and everything else really allows this Corsair to feel elevated compared to the rest of the competition. Visibility is great, as always. And really the Jet appearance package, that jet black appearance package, just really elicits an all new personality out of this when you especially combine it with the eternal red leather interior. Guys, I switched it into Excite mode by twisting the drive mode selector knob. Real easily gets you into that sport mode setting. They call it Excite. And that's gonna adjust how the transmission and the engine behave with one another, the steering sensitivity, and of course the throttle response. We're gonna be going on throttle as soon as the light turns green, so get ready because we are going to rip and roar. Remember, power distribution, here we go, on throttle. Power going to all 4 wheels into this right-hand bend. Nicely planted. And the great news is you're definitely gonna feel the difference between the modes. It's not just changing a mode for mode's sake, it actually really has a varying degree of driving personality as we go on throttle. The shifts are a little bit more purposeful in Excite mode, living up to the name of that mode. Brakes feel good. And then also the feedback to the wheel is improved with the Excite mode as well. But it's nice to be able to have that smaller, compact crossover luxury SUV from Lincoln with a lot of the touches that you find in the bigger models like the Nautilus and the Navigator being brought into this Corsair, especially when it comes to the seats. But driving the Corsair really has a nice overall feel. It's going to be interesting to see what you think when you get behind the wheel of this compared to the GV70. Little bit different layout than the GV70, especially with the GV70 having a larger screen that's not as tall. But the way they did the red leather in here is probably my favorite part of the interior. Got a nice large head-up display. All right, guys, I'm leaving it in Excite mode. We're gonna get on the highway and then we'll change modes. On throttle, here we go. Love that power distribution with the all-wheel drive. Nice clean graphics on not only the infotainment screen, but also the digital gauge cluster. Now that we're getting on the highway, I'm gonna go ahead and change modes. We're gonna go from Excite to normal. And like I said, you'll feel the difference with the way that the revs drop and just the smoothness of the power delivery. But the dimensions of the Corsair allow you to be able to thread this vehicle like a piece of yarn through the eye of a needle and be able to sit in comfort and get a massage while you're driving. Getting to that infotainment system, like I said, very, very easy, very intuitive. The one thing I'm just missing are some physical buttons for the AC controls. Because like I said, you gotta hit here. Now I'm taking my eyes off the road to adjust the blower fan speed, and it's a little cumbersome. Same thing with the ventilated seats. Right now I have ventilated seats on. If I want to go higher, you got to move the little wand. Nice thing is you can just hit off and it's instantaneous, and then it easily just drops away. But still, just take some time to get used to, for sure. But driving down the highway, because of the sound deadening material, because of the ride quality, it's nice and quiet in the cabin. And they did a good job with the suspension damping at all four corners. But hopefully this has been a nice overall feel of what the refresh and updated Corsair Reserve is all about. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one of those fun kind of days, nice weather, and definitely a classy vehicle to drive around in. First of all, we gotta thank Annika and the rest of the team over at Lincoln for allowing us access to this press suite vehicle. And you know what? Let me know what you think. Has Lincoln created that special sauce? Did they get it right with the changes that they made to the Corsair to go up against the GV70, to go up against the Lexus NX350? Let me know in that comment section how you're feeling about this. Lincoln is very curious to read those comments and get to have an idea of what's going on in your mind. But until we meet another day, if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. I'll come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raity's Rise family. Of course, we need to give it up to LG Raiti. Lori working that camera like a champ. She likes Lincoln, actually Abraham Lincoln. It's one of her favorite presidents out of all of them, especially with the accomplishments that he made. But show Lori some love in that comment section. Thank you, Lori, for working just as hard as Abraham Lincoln with that camera. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.